Don't hide in the corner, don't be no coward. It's Friday, it's time to be empowered. Welcome to the Be-Mpowered Podcast. My name, as usual, is Simon Miller. And we're wrapping up towards the end of the year now. I'd like to point out, actually, before we go, I am still ill. I don't know how the hell I've been ill for this long, but I am. So any coughs or weird noises that come from me, that's just something I have to put up with, so I apologise. But today, I'm joined by, he's become like a regular guest now. I don't really have special guests, I just have this man. Mr. David Lynch, thank you very much for joining me again.
Well, no, not a problem. I felt so bad listening to you have what I can only describe as a meltdown than the last podcast.
I had a lot of nice feedback for that, I'll have you know. Thank you very much. A lot of people said they quite enjoyed it, and I'll do another one at some point. But no, thank you for everyone that listened to that and participated and said nice things about it, because I did sit there going, does anybody want to hear this? But apparently you did, so I do appreciate that. Also, I'm going to pimp stuff out early this time, just in case you don't get to the end. If you do enjoy anything you hear in the Empowered Podcast, or you want to support the show, obviously, just go to iTunes, give us a rating, give us a rank. If you don't like it, tell me that as well, then I know what you don't like, and that sort of gets the word out there more. Tell a friend, or tell two friends, and then they can tell two friends, and then before long, we'll be dominating the podcast world, and won't that be lovely? So much like last week, we're throwing the format out the window, because why not? Oh, there you go. We're throwing the format out the window, and given that this, I probably will get one more in before the end of the year, but just in case that we don't, we're going to go through mine and David's, not really top 10 games of the year, just games that we want to talk about.
It's the end of the year. You've got to have a couple of lists. I like looking back on the games of the year, because I was looking back, doing just like the last 5 minutes, thinking, well, it actually did come out this year. And you look back, you go back far back as like February. There's loads. We had quite a lot of games. Considering it was like the second year of a new gen, there's a lot of good games that came out.
Well, see,
bad games.
The only word I'd take out of there is good, because I think a lot of games came out, but to count the ones I actually wanted to play or did play isn't. You know, I'm doing a video on this that will go up next week about my favourite top 10 games of the year. I got to 8 and ran out of games. I was like, I don't have any more games. A lot of them we're going to touch on here, most of them we're not. But I think that's my biggest problem with this year, is that I'm not saying good games haven't come out, They have, but for me, it's just they've not been games that have excited me for one reason or another.
That's because you're shallow and slightly dead inside, maybe.
Well, maybe, or maybe I know what I like, and I'm not happy to
you were just sad that the Batman game didn't come out, that's all it is.
Well, that did get delayed till next year, June next year as well, so we've still got a long wait for that.
Oh, man, that's too long.
That really would have peppered this year for me, because that is a game that would have got, gets me excited, and I would have been passionate about. To me, I did go, we're going to do it in chronological order, but as the conversation has taken this way, we won't. My big game, to sort of see me through the Christmas holidays, has been Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, of all things.
Really?
I never thought that would be the case, but I don't mean one that I'm going to sink hours upon hours into, but when I have some free time and I sit down, I put on Call of Duty, I'm back into that multiplayer. Now, the Advanced Forward multiplayer is very good. There's no two ways about that. It's kind of a back to form kind of thing rather than a reinvention of the wheel. But I don't necessarily think I'd be playing as much if I had something else to play.
I haven't played Call of Duty yet, so I'm not speaking from experience here. I've decided to kind of like end my association with that brand. As far as I'm concerned, it kind of peaked with 2 back on when the 360 released.
Well, Call of Duty 2. No, you must have. You enjoyed Modern Warfare, don't you?
I enjoyed Modern Warfare 4, but in terms of like looking back over the franchise, it's either COD 2 or Modern Warfare.
I'd agree with that. COD 2 is still my favourite one. As much as I enjoy the multiplayer,
Yeah. It's all iterative since then. It's just building on a formula that works, and it's kind of like, all right, I get it. A lot of people like it. As it's gotten bigger, it hasn't really changed. It's just sort of, I don't know, spread itself a bit too thin, and that's why I think you get things like Black Ops and that. It's just the new ideas aren't really ideas. They're just sort of like tweaks and changes, and you can sing and dance about all if you want, but you bring a dog into the equation, that's what you're shouting about. I'm not interested.
I agree, and I've never played a Black Ops. Not properly, but I've sort of delved in for a little bit, and then gone, it's not for me. But I didn't play sort of Modern. I tinkered with Modern Warfare 3. I didn't even look at Ghosts because I could tell that was a pile of crap. But that's my point: is that Advanced Warfare it's a very, very sort of laid back return to form, but it's a return to form nonetheless.
It's a very safe game.
Yeah, it's very safe. But I'm starting to think to myself, am I only playing it so much because I have nothing else to play? Like Dragon Age should be my game that I'm playing now. Don't get me wrong, I have sunk so many flipping hours into Inquisition, but it is just, it has good parts, it has good elements, but again, the best way I can sum it up is if you head over to my YouTube channel, Simon Miller. I did a video about it, and it's just, it's so far away now from what I ever wanted that series to be that when Dragon Age 4 comes out, I think I'm done with it. It's not going to be what I want it to be. I'm not saying that's a problem. People go, oh, it's still a good game. It is a good game. But I wanted Dragon Age Origins, the trilogy. That was always my dream, and that's not something that we've achieved. And we're not going to get it now. Like, BioWare have steered these games in a hugely different direction. They're not going to turn around now.
Do you remember how much talk they went on before Dragon Age came out? All their big talk was like, we've spent about 2 years building a world, and it's got like thousands of years worth of history. And when you walk into a castle or a ruin or whatever, you can feel that history. And you're thinking, yeah, look at all this stuff. There's like, this is Tolkien-esque depth to this. There's like languages and stuff, and they've really done their homework, and they've really put all that effort in. And then it's just like, I
just don't care.
No, it doesn't make any difference whatsoever.
No, that's the problem. Is I don't want to read any of that stuff. All I want is a really, really good, interesting, intriguing narrative.
And they had the books that came out with it and everything.
It's steered away from what I liked about that franchise. It's weird because I'm not sort of like upset about it. Like, I think it's fine if that's the decision they've made, but it's just not for me. It's not a game that I want to play anymore. So now I'm kind of. And I think that Mass Effect 4 is going to go in a different direction for me as well. Like, 3 I thought was good, but I already sort of... I don't know, 3 felt like a little underwhelming to me. So I don't know, maybe I'm done with BioWare games. I don't know, maybe that's a ridiculous thing to say, and in a couple of years' time I would have made a fool out of myself. But yeah, a small part of me thinks maybe that's just not... Maybe, I don't know, maybe I've changed. I don't know. I can't answer this question, but I know that I wouldn't be playing as much Advanced Warfare if Inquisition had grabbed me as Origins did.
Yeah. I'm going to play a bit host now and put us back on the topic because we've spent about 3 podcasts whinging about Dragon Age, so I feel like we should probably go back to the beginning of the year and whinge about other games.
All right, fair enough. What do you want to start with? Titanfall? We probably should talk about Titanfall because we just talked about Call of Duty. Because, right, Titanfall is a very similar situation to me with Inquisition, oddly. Could not get into it. Could not get into it at all. Did the tutorial, which is way too long for the record. Longest tutorial in the history of games. I get it. Shoot people in the face. And that was it. I played a few matches. Maybe I didn't give it long enough, but I was like, I don't want to spend my time playing this game.
From looking at it, it's like it's slick, it's fast, it's everything that you kind of. It's like a really again, I think I would say safe, but just a very, very tight. You know, they know how to make a good shooter clearly. And they get that gameplay loop that works, and I think adding in another gameplay loop with the actual Titans, because either you're on foot or you're on Titans, and there are 2 sort of gameplay loops there which interact, and I think on the battlefield that creates a really interesting dynamic. But I think overall, stretched over a game, this whole sort of, it's a multiplayer one, but you'll get the story as you play is bollocks. It doesn't work. Well, it hasn't worked yet.
So what did you want it to be? What were you expecting?
I don't know, but I don't know if, like, the way COD works it with having a multiplayer, but with some existing storyline, just gives justification to the scenarios and situations you find yourself in. And there's no reason why you can't have those story elements, and maybe in a bit of a multiplayer. I don't know whether you do, like, sort of more linear structured levels, like a normal single-player game, and then you suddenly get dropped onto a battlefield, and it just happens to be a multiplayer battlefield sort of thing. I don't know how it can work. I mean, I'm certainly not going to cite Brink as like the one game that.
Hey, Brink is all right. Brink is all right. Brink gets a lot of shit, but Brink was if you got the right people and enough people, that was the problem. Nobody was playing it. But if you got enough people and the right people, Brink was a lot of fun.
No,
surprisingly.
I was at the review events and it worked. I liked it.
No, but surely you can't be that up. I mean. Titanfall never pitched itself as anything but a multiplayer game, though. You seem to be upset that it lacked a single player.
Okay, yeah, right. But it had narrative elements in it.
Right.
And I think they weren't clear about how much how much impact this was going to have. And I don't know, when you have a world like that, and it's like properly sci-fi, and they got characters talking at you like in the corner of the screen, like just spouting guff at you as you run around in a multiplayer game. If it doesn't have a story, forget about it. Don't worry about it. Just don't talk at me. But if you're going to do it properly, or give it some thought, a bit more thought than here's a guy in the corner of the screen talking at you. It doesn't make any sense. It's bullshit.
Okay, but aside from that, what did you think about the act?
Aside from that, I still think it's a very, very good game. It's solid.
Right, so you enjoyed shooting people in the face in it?
Yeah, of course.
But do you agree, I think you've already hinted at this, or said it outright, that it was not anything new, really?
No, it wasn't.
It was an offshoot of Call of Duty, really. And, it wasn't... It didn't change anything. No, here's a Call of Duty template with a few other ideas that we've come up with.
Exactly, yeah. Which I think were good ideas, and you can see, like with Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, they kind of say the only way to go now with this stuff is to have gadgets and stuff that can pepper the gameplay and change it.
Gadgets, like Inspector Gadget.
They are gadgets. It's a bloody mech suit. And the only thing that I can really take away from it now, looking back at the end of the year now, is like, man, that Xbox 360 version didn't look half bad.
No, did all right, didn't it?
Yeah, it did.
But here's the other thing as well, and I don't know because I haven't obviously engrossed myself in it, so I could be completely wrong. But not a lot of people seem to be talking about Titanfall. There doesn't really seem to be a big community there, but there may be. Maybe if you go online, that's kind of where you get the crutch of it. But it doesn't really seem to have sort of shifted the landscape as much as some people were making out it might.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's kind of like, it's in the background. I don't think about it. I think Battlefield's talked about more than Titanfall is.
Shit, I forgot Battlefield 4 came out. No, that was last year. No Battlefield game came out this year because Hardline got delayed, of course. Yeah. But no, I've heard more about Battlefield. Well, that's probably because it was broken. But no, like Titanfall seemed to come out and then quickly just kind of drop off the radar.
I did just think of another game we didn't talk about on the list.
What?
Halo.
Oh shit! We'll get to that as well. We'll tie that in now. We'll talk about first-person shooters. But I mean, okay, in that sense, Titanfall should be praised because the damn thing worked.
It did work.
I mean, and that's the other thing with Call of Duty: Advanced Warfare. It works. Say what we like about Activision, but there were a few problems. Halo Master Chief, I don't know, Journey Adventure Collection 9 or whatever. Still, as far as I know, it's still causing issues for some people.
Major issues, yeah. You can't. Matchmaking's still broken, apparently.
How can a Halo game be broken? I thought the whole point was that they were always, they're your go-to people. They'll always be there for you, supporting you.
It was the Bungie magic, though, wasn't it? It was like whatever their matchmaking infrastructure was, it worked brilliantly, and you never have to question it. And it was like it worked so well, you just forgot about it.
I think that's the other problem as well we've got with the end of this year. Like Assassin's Creed doesn't work, Halo doesn't work. Yeah. It's such a shame that Drive Club, that had problems. It's such a shame that all these games that are supposed to be your AAA blockbuster titles are just plagued with such issues that you do get tired of them. Like, I mean, I don't play Assassin's Creed. We're all aware of this. But, if I did, I wouldn't be playing it now. If the damn thing didn't work, I would be off it and that game would be back, to wherever it came from so fast. Because I'm not going to sit around while Ubisoft release some 7-gig patch. That's an insult to everybody. Imagine, this wouldn't have happened. I know everyone goes, but it does exist. Okay, fair enough. But what if you're little Jimmy living in somewhere that doesn't have internet? That still exists,
Yeah,
there are still some places. I mean, admittedly, the argument there is if they don't have the internet, they probably don't have a games console. Fair enough. But my point is that Ubisoft or whoever should not be relying on, day one pay. I mean, I understand little issues, but not to the point the game doesn't work. That's not good. And I think that's kind of undermined this entire year, really, are games that are coming out and just have, suffered from such crippling problems that they ruin the experience for everyone.
It's a trend that the industry's sort of been experiencing the last couple of years, where these games get so big and the demand is so strong and the community is so sort of vocal about getting them that when they hit a window, when games slip, everyone gets kind of really disappointed, and it's not just hitting that window, the release window that they state, isn't about sort of making us happy. It's more about sort of what's the competition, what are our target sales, there are more elements in sort of that dictate these things than just sort of like, the game will be broken. So if the game's going to hit more of a market early, then they go for it and then they patch it. I mean, it's a viable tactic for them.
Yeah, but it seems to be particularly prominent this year, and I think sort of a lot of reasons why it's not a good idea have sort of reared their heads as well. And I think that's a problem. And I mean, but Titanfall, fair enough. I don't think that had any problems when it came out. Maybe
it was fine.
Maybe I've just forgotten about it now, and everyone's going to go nuts, going, "We had loads of problems." And if so, you can throw it in the fire heap as well. But yeah, I mean, Titanfall. I mean, it was one of the bigger games of the year, but I think this is somewhat of a theme for me. Yeah, I wasn't interested. So, there you go. What would you give Titanfall? Score it. That's always fun. We're going to score each game. Okay, I don't care about scores, but let's do it anyway. I'm going to give it 4. 4 out of 10.
4 out of 10.
The game I played for 15 minutes. 4 out of 10.
I think in retrospect now, I'd give it a 7.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Mine was a joke for the record. Anyone that's just sort of thrown themselves out of a window. Okay, with the other bit, we got a few Ubisoft games to talk about, and before we started this podcast, you proclaimed that Watch Dogs came out this year, and I was like, no, it didn't, but it did.
It did, yeah.
Now, Watch Dogs obviously suffered, somewhat ironically, given what we've just chatted about, suffered from the fact it came out too late. Because I think, Ubisoft bigged up for what felt like 72 years. There was a trailer every day, and by the time it came out, I was like, I think I've already played this. I'm not 100% sure, but that's kind of the impression that I've got. I mean, my problem with Watch Dogs was, for all its potential and all what I thought it would be, it's Assassin's Creed again. Ubisoft me again, is that they pitched to me all this stuff that I was going to be able to do, and then when I sat down and played, I was like, fuck off. This is exactly like all the other shit that I've played over the last few years, which is fine, but don't pull the wool over my eyes.
It's the copy and paste open world mechanic that they rely on get to the top of a thing, and then view the world, and everything will open up. It's like, I can't abide that now. I'm so sick of doing it. I'm doing it in Far Cry, I'm doing it in Assassin's Creed, and now I'm doing it in Watch Dogs. I don't give a shit. I don't care.
Exactly. You literally pick your preferred settings. So you pick, like, jungle or you pick olden times, or you pick modern day, and then whichever one is kind of what you like to play your games in, that's the Ubisoft game you pick, and that is atrocious.
It is.
It's
so lazy game design.
It is, and everyone, Watch Dogs looks good, and I know it spiked next gen sales.
All right.
But it spiked next gen sales, everyone was excited about it. But I'm sorry, that is not. And I don't expect a new machine to come out and there to be this completely brand new experience. Like, for example, say Mario 64 when the N64 came out. I don't think that happens every time. But what I don't need is a game that I sit down and go, after a few hours go, I've done all this. And not only have I done all this, I've done all this in all your other games, Ubisoft. Like, you talk about Titanfall falling off the radar for me. Watch Dogs was just like, oh man. I know this is really negative, and I apologise for that. But it's just not. There's no merit to that game whatsoever. Like, it's just. I could have played that 5 years ago and been equally as impressed or unimpressed, depending on how I felt that day.
Yeah, I agree with that. I like to live my life a little bit behind the release schedule, so my little barometer for how good a game is how much is it going for in CX right now? You can get Watch Dogs for like a tenner.
well, but those kind of games always do it. Like they come out and they do sell a lot, and they kind of have this big pickup, and then a couple of months later, it doesn't have a very long tail. Those games. Well, I don't think so. Anyway, I'm sure somebody will prove me wrong, but that's the impression that I get. And I like the fact that I thought Watch Dogs came out last year. I think that kind of sums it up. And I get it. I kind of get it and I kind of don't, because obviously Assassin's Creed 2 came out and apparently righted all the wrongs with that sequel, that franchise. But I mean, what's Watch Dogs? Unless Watch Dogs 2 changes Ubisoft's template, not the Watch Dogs template, but Ubisoft's template, I don't know what it can do to impress me. So, and there was certainly a lot of good there. Like, it was a very nice looking and very sort of dense open world, but it was just. Yeah, if you go back to that original trailer where the ideas that seemed to be brought up and what they hinted at you'd be able to do, just again like the first Assassin's Creed, it never ever happened.
No, it never happened, or it happened in such a sort of structured, handy-holdy way that you never feel like you have control of it, which is why you feel like you've seen it before, because you're basically watching it happen again, and you watched it in the trailer. Yeah, I can't abide that. It's like Ubisoft have great ideas. They really do. I think the whole hacking thing and a city is a really salient issue, particularly in our society. That makes a lot of sense to me. The fact that you got all these AI walking around, they want to have backstories, or at least the appearance of a backstory, and then they give you all these tools, and they kind of go, we can only do it in this instance, or you can only do it now, or you can only do it at this point. You say, oh, sod off. It's like I want tools, and I want to muck about, and I want to try things out.
Yeah, you want an element of freedom.
Yeah, you can't do that in any Ubisoft game.
No, you can't. It's all very, very structured. I mean, Far Cry 4, which is not on the list, so I'll bring it in now, is just Far Cry 3, but in the Himalayas. I mean, It couldn't be more similar. And that, again, would be fine if that was a single franchise that Ubisoft are doing that with, but it's not. It's every single one of their damn games. They think, we found our formula, let's stick with it. Yeah. And you know what? If you like that, then fair enough, but I hate it. I can't stand it. You've got this big publisher like Ubisoft putting a lot of money into games, and all of them just feel like carbon copies of one another, and I don't think that's helpful or fun for anybody. No. But with that said, Ubisoft did release South Park. Now they don't really get any love for this because they bought it off THQ. Exactly. Like, it's not like they funded this thing. But I genuinely think that South Park could be one of my favourite games of this year.
You were saying when you came out that you really enjoyed it.
We won't get into the details why, but I had to have surgery earlier in this year. It was basically, I couldn't do anything for a good few weeks, if not longer. I can't really remember now. So I thought, I missed the South Park game. So I thought, I'm going to go. I'm a massive South Park game. And it was, it's not the greatest game in the world. Like, the fundamentals are strong and, the combat's fine. But it was just the entertainment value of that thing. It's just proof that if you understand the license, obviously, like the creators do, Matt and Trey, and you can just sort of transpose that across the games. Any game could do it. You just got to do it right.
I think South Park is testament to how important writing is in games.
Well, the other thing, no games are funny. There are no funny games. Well, there are a few, but none that sort of are consistently hilarious. And much like the TV show, the South Park the game is funny from its first hour. I think 12 hours I did it in, and it never wasn't funny. It never wasn't entertaining. It's one of those games where I wanted to play it every day. I was excited about playing it every day, and few games do that anymore. But it was because it entertained me. It made me laugh. Like, it balanced everything I had to balance. It looked nice. It played okay. The story was good enough, and the writing was excellent. And all that together was like, this is exactly what I need from a South Park game, and a hell of a lot better than that weird South Park game when you were pissing on turkeys or whatever the hell it was
on the N64.
Yeah.
There's been a few South Park games over the years.
Well, the sort of the smaller ones they released on Xbox Live Arcade were all right. Like the South Park Let's Go Tower Defense Play, and there was another one that was okay, but they were, that was just let's take an interesting idea and pay South Park over the top. This is a South Park game, and it is controversial as well. That was the problem at the time. That is the only problem is that a lot of the scenes were censored in the UK.
I'll say a lot. It was like one scene, wasn't it? Like
no. There's one area where you get 5 or 6 censors back to back, and it does feel a little bit grating. But the weird thing is there's worse. Like the things they censored was sort of Randy Marsh getting probed, alienly probed by an alien.
God, that's like episode 1 of South Park, like 10 years ago.
Yeah, but what's not censored, and this is obviously a slight spoiler, but what's not censored is I can't remember her name now, but I think Khloe Kardashian's dead fetus coming to life and being a boss. Now, that's not censored, that's fine, but we can't watch an anal probe on Randy Marsh? That makes no sense to me. Where's the line?
Maybe it was just because I have a sensitivity towards Randy as an entity, as a person, because I love Randy. He's one of my favourite characters.
Yeah, so you don't want to see anything bad happen.
I don't want to see anything bad happen to that guy.
Khloe Kardashian's dead fetus, yeah. Do whatever you want with that.
That has no rights.
Did you play South Park?
I haven't finished it like you. It's like
how many hours into it?
Like 5, and then I got bored.
Okay, you got bored. Okay, that's interesting. Go on then.
No, I didn't. I got busy essentially, and then I one of those ones that you play a game for so many hours, and then you kind of like you leave it for a bit, and then I couldn't go back. That's all it was. I'll go back to it eventually.
I think you should go back because I think the last 2 hours of that game were the funniest.
Oh really?
The bit where Morgan Freeman turns up is a genuine gaming highlight for me. It could be in my top 10 gaming highlights ever. I'm laughing for about an hour. But no, I think it's wonderful. I think it's again, it's a testament to how to do a license well, unlike that awful Family Guy that came out, which was an insulting homophobic mess.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was terrible. I mean, that was just a rush. Again, let's just paste the family license over. We think it's kind of, people like this kind of humour. Well, no, you got the humour completely wrong.
Yeah, again, the writing.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, this is. Unfortunately, I never think we'll see a sequel to it or anything like that because the nightmare of development with THQ obviously going up and down and Matt and Trey being thrown around. Here, near, and everywhere. And then the whole censorship as well. I worry that this may be... And also, South Park as an entity isn't really as relevant as it was sort of 10 years ago.
But they're still sort of attached to the industry in some regard, because they keep doing like those video game awards and stuff. They keep popping up.
Yeah, I can't see that. I don't know. Unless they completely fund it themselves, which I doubt they would. Or I don't know. I'm not 100% sure we'll ever see another. I think that could be it. I think this could be our South Park swan song. But you know what? At least we got one, because there was a time where it didn't look like we were going to get anything. So, but yeah, genuinely, when you look back at 2014, South Park for me is wonderful.
That was one I'd forgotten that had come out.
And I don't think you've even played this, Lynch, knowing you like I do, Mario Kart 8.
I know, I don't have a Wii U. I do want... That was like... I saw that and I was like, I want that.
Man.
It looks amazing.
Mario Kart 8 is just... everything right about that, it just reminds you about why that series is so good and why we're so many iterations in, but the formula still works. They never try and rewrite it. They never try and evolve it too much. It's always tweaks and kind of new ideas that they,
I love that we can level that as a criticism to COD, but with a Mario Kart, it's like, nope, amazing.
Yeah, but do you know why though? Because I don't get Mario Kart every year. If I got Mario Kart every year, I would probably be getting a bit weary of it by now. But I don't. I get a new Mario with every console, and that's fine because I think, well, I got a new console. I would like to play Mario Kart on it. It's been a few years. My kind of appetite for that recipe is back.
Oh, it comes right back though, doesn't it, with a vengeance when you start playing.
But that's the thing. This is the point. Is that, and I'm sure COD would be the same if they didn't. Because the COD's problem is they feel like they have to change things, which I understand because they're doing something every year, and it's like we can't just release the same thing. We want to. Like the FIFA problem as well. We want these things to feel different. Nintendo Mario Kart don't necessarily fit into that bracket because it has been so many years, and like I said, there's an appetite for this thing. But more importantly, when you do sit down and start playing it, especially when you play against other people, the damn thing is so Moorish, and it's so competitive and addictive, and you're like, I'm desperate to win. Like, it's this constant thing where if I lose at Mario Kart, I'm angry for the rest of the day. And I think that is a testament to that game. And Mario Kart 8 was no different. It looked awesome anyway.
It looked incredible. I mean, everyone whinges about the Wii U, it's underpowered, but you look at that game, it doesn't even matter.
Well, it's the art style.
It does not matter.
No, the art style in that game, it's like the same with the Mario 3D World, whatever it's called. Done right and in HD. Yeah. It looks awesome. So that was new. Obviously, new courses. The online thing actually worked.
I love the idea of jumping between like the different types of track as well. Like the tactics you can come into play with that as well. It's just
But that's the thing. Like you didn't, and also, but they introduced that, but you don't. You can ignore it. You can ignore that for the entire game if you want to, and it does not affect you. If, on the other hand, you can find a way to make it work for your playing style, then yeah, you may have an advantage. You may not, depending on what the other person is doing. I mean, the rubber banding when you play the computer is still ridiculous, and the blue shell is still the fucking worst thing ever. But there is no. I'm pretty sure when I say this, I mean it. There is no better game in multiplayer than Mario Kart 8. Or Mario Kart in general. I do not think there's a better multiplayer game.
I still think it's one that benefits from people being in the room with you.
Oh yeah, I mean that is the same. Oh yeah, because you want to smack the other person and stuff. But this is the good thing about Mario Kart 8 is it actually works online. Like the other previous ones have been online, but they've always been a bit flaky. This one's actually quite solid. But yeah, it's just it's one of those games. It's worth buying a console for. It's something that you can't play anywhere else. And what the hell was that?
Oh, sorry, that's my.
I just got R2D2 sitting in your house, just chilling out. Yeah,
that's my ringtone. It was an email.
Okay, well,
sorry.
I hope it's a good email. Maybe it's from me. Turn your phone off. I'm joking. But yeah, it's just. I mean, that is definitely either. No, I think that is my game of the year. Mario Kart 8.
You're gonna go with that, yeah?
Yeah. Well, I'm looking through this list. Hang on, I got another list somewhere. There you go. This is a good thing to do, isn't it? When you're doing a podcast. I made a top 10 list. Where is it? I think I've lost it. Oh no, there it is. Hang on. Yeah. Mario Kart 8 would be my game of the year. But I didn't say that. Still watch my video to find out what my game of the year is. But yeah, I mean, if you haven't played it and you've got a Wii U, and especially if you're listening to this and you've never played a Mario Kart game, and honestly, give it 20 minutes and you'll be hooked. You really will be hooked. But we realised we've stopped doing the score game. What would you give Watch Dogs?
Oh God, like 5.
All right, done. South Park.
7 again.
Right, people can yell at you because you just reviewed a game without finishing it. Mario Kart.
Fair enough, I'll hold my hands up to that.
You can review Mario Kart 8 as well. You haven't played it.
I've not played that. 10, yeah.
10 out of 10.
It
really is.
Knowing the series like I do, yeah, 10 probably.
Yeah, 10 out of 10. But you know what's not a 10 out of 10?
What's that?
And you know what's a 0 out of 10?
Oh my God, go on.
Dark Souls fucking 2.
Oh God, don't. People like Dark Souls, Simon.
I don't think we ever chatted about Dark Souls. What's your opinion on Dark Souls?
I'm against you. I can understand your points, and I think a lot of people do, but I think...
You like it, don't you?
I do like it. I just think your mentality and how you play games, it's just not you, and that's fine. But there are a lot of people out there that like that. And
that sounds insulting. I think you're insulting me. It's just not you, Simon. What do you mean? What are you talking about?
You're too stupid and don't have the patience. No, but I think obviously clearly there's a really strong market out for a game like this, and I understand your point. And when I watched your video when you went on about like I'm gonna die one day, and I thought when you think about like.
Exactly. I'm not going to sink my life into flipping...
If you take that road, though, you can take that about every single game. They're all pointless. You're wasting your time entirely.
Yes, but my point being is that most games don't ask me to walk down the same corridor 500 times and try and kill the same fucking enemy at the end of it.
There's something in that, though. Buried in that, there's a little nugget of gold, and that is like... that persistence paying off, and you get that. You really feel like you've achieved something, and it's a really important feeling, and one which is missing from most of the industry.
What are you talking about? It's just, I mean, I appreciate that when you start in this conversation, you try to be diplomatic. I'm not going to give you the same respect. It is pointless. And it does the worst thing about Dark Souls, and the worst thing about it is on your first run, it does stuff that you could not possibly see coming unless you're like a clairvoyant or something or can see into the future. And so everyone goes, oh, but you've got to learn. That's not learning. That is punishing you. And there's a massive difference. Like learning is fighting a boss and learning its pattern and going, right, well, I can't do that because he'll do that. Sending a boulder into a bridge that blows me up and sends me back an hour is not teaching me anything. That is a punishment. That's what happens when you get in late when you're a child and you break your curfew. You get sent to your bed. You are punished. There's no redeeming features from that.
Where's it written that games have to be fair? I mean, like, From Software is playing with the audience. It's playing with you. It's like when a film like teases you with like a reveal or sort of like it does something. It's a narrative trick and a little twist to go, you know what, we're fucking in charge here. And it's those fucking like goads and sort of like they're sort of like two fingers up at you that make you want to keep playing. And then again, when you get to the end, you beat that boss, you feel all the more proud and better for it because you go, you know what, fuck you From Software, I did that game and I used a bloody Guitar Hero controller as well.
What? You use a Guitar Hero? What are you talking about?
You've seen the videos online with the guys. It's not punishing enough to do it with a normal controller. You can do it with a Guitar Hero controller.
I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah, it's like a whole subset of these guys. One guy did a boss against using a bloody steering wheel.
No words. I'm genuinely speechless. I mean, I understand, you're right, there is no set rule book on games, and nor should there be. That would be the worst thing ever if all games pertain to a single, like the Ubisoft stuff, which is terrible. Yeah. But this, I just do not understand. It feels like, I mean, it really does. It feels like maths. That's always the thing I go back to, because in school, I used to walk to my maths classes with my head in my hands like, I don't want to do maths. And that's how Dark Souls feels. It feels like a horrible equation which there's no solution to, and I cannot work it out.
Well, some people like maths.
Well, no, they do. And like, I know a lot of people sort of get a bit frustrated when I get on my Dark Souls high horse and start ranting about it. But I just, it really is one of my worst franchises in games. It leaves me feeling horrible about life and about myself, and I feel like less of a man. And I do not understand it. I'll never understand it. No one can accuse me of not trying. Not only did I plow, hours into the first Dark Souls, obviously not Demon Souls, but the first Dark Souls. There's video evidence of this. You can watch this now. There's a 3-part series of me trying to get into that game and just becoming more miserable and miserable throughout it. And I did Dark Souls 2. Again, there's video evidence for that, and it didn't change my opinion. I do not like it. I think it's got... There's nothing about it that I like. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. And it's way too grey. So... But I do respect and I do understand your points. And I know most people listening to this will probably agree with you.
Yeah.
But it's just, we all have those things that we just can't get our head around, and that is mine. I don't understand the success. I don't understand the point of it. Awful.
I actually see that series and the Demon Souls and now eventually Bloodborne as basically the polar or antithesis, the natural reaction to having something like COD being like the biggest game ever, because it holds your hand through it and you can like just press forward and press X a bunch of times, right, and you'll walk through it. This is the reaction. We're like what is it? Have a result and consequences and all that. I think this is just what's popped up, and I don't think it's a bad thing.
All right, fair enough. I'll concede there. I'll never be able to get on board with it, but you're right. It's a refreshing change in a world full of hit easy and let us walk you through the experience, which is fair enough. I don't want to talk about this because we're on a negative kick again, but it's on my list, so we're going to it. David Lynch, my friend, my long-time, about to say partner, but
don't say that.
Just friends. Did you play Wolfenstein, the New Order?
I came to it late, though. I picked it up cheap.
Okay, now the way you said that is I think you enjoyed Wolfenstein, the New Order.
I did enjoy it.
Right. I gave it a 6 out of 10 for videogamer.com, which then proceeded to work its way onto NeoGAF, the world's best website. They then proceeded to rip the shit out of me, saying that I shouldn't be allowed to review games and that my writing was akin to a 10-year-old. The thing that really annoyed me is everyone was, why is this review so short? Well, because that's what we were doing at the time. We were doing short reviews, but I'm not going to get into that now. But yeah, I got taken to task for this. I got ripped to shreds by it, but I stand by it completely. I think Wolfenstein is a good shooter in the sense that the shooting feels really good, but I think everything else around it is a confused, convoluted mess.
I feel like, a lot of what you're going to say to criticise it I will agree with, but I just not necessarily see it as such a harsh thing. I don't think it was a confused mess outside the shooting, actually. I actually think what they were doing was genuinely quite interesting. If not, I wouldn't say clever, but it was definitely interesting.
It's definitely not clever, that game.
No,
definitely not.
No, it's not. But I think what they did have in terms of like the actual narrative it's pretty good. We're talking about a game here which the lineage is basically, guys shoots Nazis. And,
yes.
Nazis aren't just Nazis, they're like stupid Nazis with like, mech suits and stuff and whatever. And I think taking that and turning it into a bit of it had a Inglourious Bastards vibe to it, which I didn't like. I didn't hate. I quite enjoyed that, but it kind of knew that it was tongue in cheek. But I like some of the writing in the scenes. I thought because I can't remember where I read some of these opinions, so I apologise if I'm not citing them properly. I'm not claiming them as my own, but someone was saying it may have been GamesIndustry.biz or somewhere actually, but someone was talking about BJ Blazkowicz being a character in this game who's unchanged. He's basically a blunt instrument who's the guy you have in the first game, so he's totally unsubtle. There's nothing nuanced about him whatsoever. He's just a guy who shoots Nazis, but he doesn't change in this game. And who was talking about it? But they were saying this is a game that, again, as a kind of a reaction to the modern shooter, but played through the prism of looking back at this series, looking back at this sort of the Wolfenstein and the way it's kind of changed over the years and the way shooters have changed. But at the centre of that, you have this character, BJ, who hasn't changed. He's completely the fucking same. And that's why I think it's interesting when he wakes up in the mental asylum, and he's just like, I'm just going to kill everybody. And it's like, at the end of every cutscene, he basically says every time, I'm going to kill everybody. And you proceed to then kill everybody. But then recognising that and kind of going, well, that's what games are. That's what this genre of games is right, because all you do, whatever happens in any cutscene in a first-person shooter in any game, the resulting action is you shooting a bunch of people.
Yes.
And no games address this, and I quite like that they did. I mean, he's in a situation where he's entirely justified to shoot all the people because they're all Nazis. Why wouldn't he shoot them?
Yeah, I think you're giving that game way too much credit. I don't think that ever came into their mind. I think they wanted to make this. There are a lot of cutscenes and moments in that game where they want you to really give a shit and care about what's going on. They want you be emotionally moved by this stuff. But then you have a moment where you're having sex with a girl, as she's bent over a table, or you're cutting a man's head off with a chainsaw. And it's like, you can't. You're either a silly game or you're a serious game.
She wasn't bent over the table. That was actually quite a mutually sex scene.
I never said it wasn't mutual. That never came into conversation.
But you say when I say mutual, I mean like she wasn't being passive in that scene. She's an active participant in that relationship.
No, but
if anything, she's more important to BJ's character evolving into something more nuanced than anything else, because he does change over the course of that game.
Wow, you and I look at this game in so different light. I mean, that's good though. I mean, that is good. That is what a creative piece of fiction should do. It should
exactly. Yeah.
It should create these things. But I don't see it. I just saw it as the guy's going, well, we better put a sex scene in it because, that's what gamers want in it. But then in the next scene, it's like, but don't forget this. This is really poignant and moving, and you're going to cry, and this man's going to drive his car into a bomb. Oh my gosh, can't believe it.
I didn't feel like they were trying to make it poignant or anything. I mean, they have those elements in there because sometimes that's what the scene calls for. But I didn't feel like they were pulling on my heartstrings, because it was just like, ultimately, this is all big and dumb. And I never think they lost sight of the fact that it was big and dumb. At least I didn't think so.
See, I think with the shooting, they wanted big and dumb, and with the story, they wanted poignant and nuanced and lovely and wonderful and tears. And I just don't think that works. You can't. Again, I feel completely separated from the experience when you keep sort of dragging me around everywhere. I'm like, I don't know how you want me to play this game. I'm quite happy for you to give me a massive gun and go around blowing people's heads off. But in the cutscenes, let me have that same Team America vibe. And you seem to think they were being ironic with it, whereas I don't. And I would say if that's the case, then maybe they should have sort of gone heavier in one direction to ensure they, successfully pulled that off.
Yeah, I still think it was it was actually quite well written. I think it was well voiced. And I think some of the thought they put into it was, well, I'm seeing it differently to you, but I actually thought it was quite, and like I said, I don't want to say clever, because I don't think it's clever. I think it's like, it was well considered, it was all thought through.
And I tell you what as well, and I shouldn't say things like this, but it's not like I haven't got in trouble before, so fuck it, let's get in trouble again. Bethesda got well pissed off with me for that review. Well pissed. Oh man, they threw their toys out the pram. They were not happy. And one of the things they got mad at me for, they said, I really shouldn't be telling this. Well, never mind. They said, what difficulty did you play it on? I said, what difference does that make? And they said, well, if you play it on easy difficulty, you're not experiencing the game in the right way. To which I said to them, okay, then why is there an easy difficulty? If there is a version of your game that you have given me, which you think breaks the game and doesn't give me the proper experience, why did you put that in your game? Silence. I never got a response from them. So if anyone from Bethesda does listen to this, A, I'm up for another row if this has pissed you off. And B, I'd like an answer to that question. Now, to reveal all, I played it on normal difficulty, as I play most games on. But if I do decide to play it on easy, because that's the way I want to experience and digest my games, then I should be able to do that and still have a good experience. Like that should never. If an easy difficulty option is in your game, then that game should be fun on easy for people that want an easy experience. It shouldn't affect the game to the point that a lower score is invalid. Ridiculous.
I'm jumping ahead with this, but it's quite important to this, like the way that Alien Isolation now has an easy option that they patched in.
Oh, did they? I didn't know that.
They did a patch where they got an easy option and an ultra difficult one where they make it like the aliens got like they improved AI and he's a bit more vicious.
I think all games should have an easy option because some people or some games you just want to play. You don't want to be you don't want to be challenged from. Like Alien's a good one. Like I just want to be scared, but I want to get through the scary bit, to the next bit and then scare me again. I don't want to keep this is going to be the most wonderful segue ever. But I don't want to keep repeating the same scary bits over because then the scares lessen. Hence why PT was such an interesting experiment Right, I'm retiring now. Thanks very much, Len.
Drop the mic. Quick.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. But, I mean, that's the thing, is that was the problem with PT. I still stand by the fact that I think PT is one of the scariest games I've ever played. Like, it ruined me as a human. But, you know, and each time I go back to it to try and finish the stupid thing, the scares just get reduced to zero so quickly because I can't figure out what the hell I'm supposed to do.
Yeah, I think that's a game that needs to be played, and I think this is where I hope they don't go with the same sort of ideas in PT, because like PT was like, man, if you didn't look on the internet, I don't know how those poor saps figured that out in like 48 hours for those puzzles. That's how they figured it out. Well, yeah, but they were designed to be like really, really difficult because they wanted you to keep that interest there, and I think that works here. But if they have those same level of obtuse puzzles in Silent Hills, I will lose interest very, very, very quickly.
Well, I don't think they can do I mean, the problem with PT is it's such a short and focused experience.
But yes, this is why I think they can get away with it, and this is why I think it's quite clever, because just you repeating that loop, and I think if you play it in like a single sitting, it captures you and it like sucks you straight into that scene, and you are in that corridor, and it's horrendous.
Yeah, and I think if those puzzles were peppered over, say, a 15-hour game, they'd be okay. Like any game, you have to work out the puzzle, but the fact they're one after the other, it does wear you down a bit. But I also think, for the fact of people to talk about it, they will not, well, not all of them, maybe some of them will be as convoluted as these ones were. Because some were fucking ridiculous, like going to the pause menu and pushing the right stick. Like, who's going to come up with that? Come on now. But with all that aside, in terms of horror games and atmosphere, and I mean, it ruined me. I mean, it was just
brilliant. It was such a great taste of like what could be done now.
I'm not playing Silent Hills if it's like that. I'm not shitting you, man.
Did you watch the video, the concept video as well? I thought that was pretty creepy as well.
No, I didn't see that. Where's that?
That's on there. There was like a concept video for PT, and like, but there's like a big, huge like hand monster thing that comes down the corridor, and like it's some creepy stuff in that as well. It's not a nice viewing. But it's just like, it's just great. It's just exciting again.
I've seen a lot. Yeah, that's the thing. I've seen a lot of people sort of rag on it recently. And, oh man, most annoying thing in the world. I don't even care if you're this person, you're listening to this. It's my podcast, say what I want. But the people that are now going, oh, I didn't really like PT, hashtag not allowed to say bad things about PT. Yes, you are. Who the fuck said you can't say bad things about PT? If you don't like it, don't take your dislike and then paste it over everyone that does like it. Fuck you. I mean, honestly, fuck you if you're that person. Just enjoy the damn thing. Anyway, here we go. There's my little mad bit. I saw so many people recently ragging on, okay, I don't care that you don't like PT. It doesn't bother me at all. But, yeah, I think that, because survival horror games, for me, had kind of they'd gone off the radar a lot. Like, you know, there was none really that were coming out. I mean, Resident Evil, for example. I mean, the last Resident Evil game, what the hell is that? I don't even know.
It's a weird mixture of a lot of strange ideas.
And it felt like that no one really cared about survival horror anymore. But in one sort of small demo, you know, Kojima and Del Toro have made it relevant again.
But it's like survival horror where you're not worrying about like, oh god, I've only got like 4 bullets left, or I've only got like this one plant. How am I going to get to the save point? Or, you know, I've got no ribbons or anything. It's just like doesn't have to be about that. It's just a matter of like me getting through that door. How do I mean, all of PT is how do I get through the door? How do I make this stop?
Yeah, exactly. How do I get out of this? It's so true, and I think that's why it works so well. It's just, you know, it's a suffocating, claustrophobic game.
Oh god, I was playing it at one point. I was showing Megan, my partner's brother, my younger brother, and I was showing it to him.
Whoa! How old is Megan's younger brother?
He's 18.
All right, I was going to say 12.
He's 19. He's just gone to university. Yeah,
okay.
He's 6. He won't look at me anymore.
He's at home.
But we were playing it, and because I hadn't realised that if you look. Like, there's a bit on the radio where you walk through on one of the routes through, and you can hear the radio, and he says, "Don't turn around now." And you think, and I mean, my instinct reaction was, "Well, I'm going to look round," and then she's right there in front of you. But I didn't realise like she won't go for you if you don't look at her, and I didn't realise that until one point.
So if you don't turn around,
if you don't look at her, you're fine. So we were wandering around the corridor, looking at the floor, until at one point we walked towards the one part of the area, and we could see her feet, and we were like, "Oh my god,
really?"
She's there, and we were like, "What do we do? What do we do?" And we were freaking out. It was amazing.
Oh, I hate that game.
It's so
fucking. I did not know that was the thing. The first time she pops up, like I think I did die. I think my heart stopped for 2 seconds. just terrible. In fact, you know, I may as well. I mean, if you want to see me play it, when I worked at Video Game, and there's a video up called 2 Cowards Play PT. Me and David Scam will play it. I mean, if you want to watch me break on camera, there you go. It's only about 50. I get about 15 minutes in. I leave twice. I walk out twice. But if you look at the sort of gaming landscape in 2014, I think not only was that one of the... I'm going to call it a game. The game doesn't have to be 12 hours long to you know...
No,
I think it is one of the best games of the year, and I think it'll be really important going forward. I think it's something that we look back on and people go, fuck, PT really made a difference.
Yeah, I really agree with that. I think it's going to influence a lot of people.
And on the flip side of that, we had The Evil Within. Now, I actually thought The Evil Within was pretty good, to be honest.
I think it was good. I think it was a game that's like 5 years old.
Yeah, but I think I ripped on it because I thought PT... Well, actually, no, to a point it did. PT did sort of raise the bar so high for me that I didn't find The Evil Within as scary as I would have done before I played PT. Because I kind of played it, and like you say, because a lot of the elements felt old or traditional. I go traditional. It felt old. Good, yeah, because I thought it was a good game. I was all right with them, and I think that's why PT is so important because of the impact it can have on you as a gamer. But I did think The Evil Within was good. I thought it was a really solid, I'll go with old school sort of survival horror game, but had enough new ideas and was clever enough in the way it kind of showed you those ideas. I liked it. I was a big fan. It wasn't as scary as I thought it was going to be, and I'm the biggest wuss on the planet. That was the only shame for me. But it was more grotesque and disturbing, and I think that worked in its own way.
What would you give it?
What I give The Evil Within?
Yeah,
it's a very good question.
What do you give PT as well? We didn't say that.
Whoa, shit. Well, it's so hard because it's such an odd experience. I mean, I like this because everyone goes, I don't care about scores, but everyone takes it so seriously. I don't care about scores, but I'd probably give it a 9, I guess.
Yeah.
People go, you can't give it a 9. It's a demo. Do whatever I want. I can do whatever I want. I literally can. And Evil Within probably an 8 or something like that. I don't know.
Really, that strong? I would
7 or an 8.
Lean towards more 7,
but I liked it. I thought it was really good, and I think the further you get into that game, the kind of the more it starts to play with you, and the more fucked up it gets. And I think it's really solid. I think it is a game that anyone that appreciates Silent Hill survival horror should play. But I also think that, I think it's much better than. I don't know what the reaction was really, but I didn't see many people talking about it. But I think it's good. I think it's a really, really solid survival horror game. I think if that's your game you're planning to play over Christmas, I actually think it sounds weird, but I think it's a really good Christmas game because it's not overly long and it keeps surprising you at every chapter. And it's fun to talk about and it's fun to play with other people. Yeah. So I think Bethesda did really well there. I think there's a really, really good, and make a sequel. I definitely think it could benefit from it.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Do you want to talk Alien Isolation as we're talking survival horror games?
We may as well.
You touched on it earlier. Now, I don't know if we mentioned this, but you're obsessive. You love Alien.
I love Alien, I haven't finished Isolation, so don't spoil it for me. I'm still playing. I'm working a lot at the moment. I'm dipping into it here and there.
All right, you're playing games casually. Nothing wrong with that, my friend.
Yeah. I have a huge hard-on for the old Alien franchise.
Did it live up to... Because I saw... who was it? I'm really sorry. I don't remember who it was. Someone gave it their Game of the Year today, and that surprised me.
I would not be surprised. I think it got a few Game of the Year nods, or it's definitely on the radar for him.
I wouldn't give it my Game of the Year.
Really?
I wouldn't give it my top 5 games of the year, but I still do think it's very good. Well, I'm not a big Alien dude. I won't say that on a public broadcast. I'll get in trouble. The first time I watched Alien, we're not going to talk about it.
Was it on a phone or something?
Well, it may have been recently.
Sake, Simon. How can you say these things? I mean, you look at Aliens, and it's it just, as a journalist, looking at the way games are now, those two films have done more for sci-fi shooters than any other source.
Go on then, run with it, Lynch. It's your moment. Go with it.
All right, but the reason, Alien, it's just for years we've had James Cameron's version of Aliens, which there's nothing wrong with. I think it's an excellent film. Love it. The whole gung-ho military, Vietnam War in space. Brilliant. It works for games where, Halo, yada, yada, yada. I mean, you could list any sci-fi shooter from the last 10 years and it's basically Aliens, essentially. Nothing wrong with that. Brilliant. But what we haven't had is the Gothic mansion in space of Alien. And the fact that we've never had an alien in a game where it was a single entity and just returning that power to that character or that creature or thing was just stroke of bloody genius, because you are terrified of that thing. And I haven't felt frightened of Alien because I've watched it so many times.
Yeah,
I have not felt those original feelings. I mean, I watched it when I was 9 years old, and
Jeez.
It's a lot of those. I mean, I remember coming home with I was in junior school, and one friend lent it to me on video. And the only reason I remember it is because my video player chewed the bloody thing up, and I had to go and buy him another one. Or I had to ask my dad to buy him another one. But I mean, I didn't get it at the time, but on repeated viewings, and you start looking at this sort of the Giger's Freudian influences, the fact that he was off his tits on LSD half the time, and it's all this sort of Necronomicon biomechanical hideousness of the fact that it's Alien. I mean, it's a creature from space, right? But it's fused with us. It's like it's a male rape fantasy gone wrong, and it's like the alien itself is part human. There's a skull right in the center of its face, like a human skull. You can't see it. Only in certain shots can you see it. It's in Alien Isolation. The art direction, they've said, like, you look close enough, you can see the human skull inside him. And it's these elements that sort of fuse together to create this just horrible uncertainty and queasiness towards this creature who will, like, you don't know if it wants to fuck you or eat you. You just don't know. You have no idea what it's going to do to you.
Like a lot of things in the life.
Well,
lol. Sorry, keep going.
I think that's where it's somewhat diluted with the James Cameron's version of the creature, because it turns into more of an insect and stuff. I think like the original idea was a lot stronger and a lot more weird, and it's just much more terrifying. But the fact that you have this thing in Alien Isolation, you've got like I think the actual most of the story is pretty poor in Alien Isolation. Like Amanda Ripley is a great character, I think, but the other characters around her aren't that interesting. They don't really play around with them that much, and some of the dialogue's a bit kooky. But when you're on your own and you're like hiding in a locker and that thing walks through the door, my God, it's absolutely awful. It's absolutely amazing. I love it. I think it's brilliant.
The game or just Alien in general? Because that's a bit of a love fest for everything.
It was, but I mean, I ended on the game there. If like the way they managed to interpret that world was just spot on.
Yeah, I agree.
The video stuff and like just the old tech and like. Oh yeah, it's very, very good.
I think the strongest, if you take something like Aliens Colonial Marines, I think the strongest point about Isolation was the fact that they captured the art style in the world and the feel of the franchise. Because again, going back to like a South Park kick, that's what you want with a game that has a branding stuck all over it. You want to feel like you're in that world. I mean, I know Alien Colonial Marines is not a fair comparison because it was broken as a video game as well, but there would have been some merit in it if it had managed to capture some of that.
That's what they promised. That was the thing. They set out and said, "We've done this."
Yeah, they hadn't. They hadn't at all. Whereas Isolation sticks very rigidly to that original movie and kind of what made it so successful, and the alien itself and how that operates.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah. Have you got to the twist yet?
Oh no.
All right. Okay. We'll talk about that.
7 hours in.
Okay, it's coming up. But I think the way they deal with that is very good as well. And also, I don't think because I know it was a big hoo-ha when they came out that there will be guns in it and stuff. Oh, I don't want a gun. There's no guns. But it works okay. It's fine.
It's like giving you like a sound horn, though, isn't it? It's like, here's a gun, don't use it.
Yeah.
God, don't use it.
That's the thing.
Like, as soon as you pull the trigger, it's like the alien's right behind you. Like, oh man.
And also, it's more realistic. You're on a ship, with
of course there'd be guns.
Yeah, of course there'd be guns. And you can use it or not use it as you see fit. And I think they really did. They really did pull that off. And to be honest, I think it's a franchise that could grow with a sequel.
I'd love to see them take this somewhere else.
Yeah.
I'm more excited about what they do with Alien Isolation than I am with Prometheus 2.
That is a very strange comparison to make, but I'm glad. So is this your game of the year then? Because you're very excited about it.
For me, yeah, totally.
10 out of 10? Haven't even finished it.
I'd say 9. I haven't finished it yet.
9? That's so stupid. What does it even mean? No, I couldn't possibly put a David Lynch 10 out of 10 on this game. Possibly not.
Maybe I'll tell you after I get to the twist. I'll tell you then.
Okay, one game I want to mention before we talk about a recent game and wrap things up. It's Rambo the video game came out this year.
Really?
And Rambo, it's fucking brilliant. Have you played Rambo the video game?
No, I've seen videos of people playing it. Isn't it like an on-rail shooter?
Yeah, amazing. In 2014. But everybody forgets that video games are meant to be fun. They're meant to be fun. They don't have to be overwrought or have some kind of message. They're supposed to entertain. And no game entertained more in 2014 than Rambo the video game.
See, I think your logic of how what game should be falls apart when you like Transformers entertains. Transformers is big, dumb and stupid, has no message whatsoever. I like things which have a message.
Yeah, but the Transformers games suck.
You like Batman, and Batman's the most sort of...
But the Batman games are good.
Face layered thing.
But the games are good. They are. And the Rambo video game is good. You don't want to play it for more than 10 minutes at a time. But look, here we go. Here's Miller's Christmas scenario, or Hanukkah if you're Jewish like me. When you have your friends or family around for this Christmas, go pick up Rambo the video game. It's got to be about £1 now. Play it with your mate, and if anybody plays it and doesn't laugh, I will give you a prize.
Doesn't laugh.
You will laugh. You will have a good time. And laugh is indicative of having a good time. True facts. Actually, on the subject of Xmas competitions, I'm running one. It should be up tomorrow, hopefully. There'll be a video. All you got to do is like the video, comment, and subscribe if you haven't, and you can win a whole bunch of games and shit. That's good, isn't it?
Oh, nice.
Yeah, there you go. It's a little bit of a heads up for people that listen to the podcast. Is it going to help you win? No, because I'm going to pick at random. But at least you know to look out for it. I think all in all, that prize is worth about 100 quid. There you go. Nice. That's all right. Yeah, and I got some rare amiibos in there as well that, as far as I can work out, are not rare at all, but still. You can win them. Anyway, get on to a game that's came up recently, Lynch, that I am definitely going to play because I'm a big fan of The Walking Dead and I'm a big fan of the Game of Thrones series in general, is you played episode 1 of the Game of Thrones game.
I did play it, yeah.
And you liked it as well. You got excited about it.
Well, I went and just dived right in and got the season pass right off the bat because I thought, you know what, I like Game of Thrones. I like the Telltales. I've not played season 2, but I played season 1.
Oh, The Walking Dead. Don't need to play season 2. Yeah, Walking Dead. Season 1's all you need.
Yeah, and so I thought that was a really strong idea. And I thought, you know what, even if they're just sort of playing around with the formula, and let's see what they got. So I played it. Man, I really liked it.
Yeah,
really enjoyed it. I think. Go on, what were you gonna say?
Well, I was gonna say, how is it? The Walking Dead game, but in a Game of Thrones setting, or have they tried to muck around with the formula a bit?
Kind of. I don't know. It's the same formula. You have characters. I mean, the one thing with this is like the Game of Thrones narrative in the TV show and the books. So you hop from character to character. They focus on this family called the Foresters, which are a part of the world, but we've not really seen them before. So they're kind of there in the background, and now they take center stage of this of the game here.
Yeah,
and so you hop from family member to family member in that. So it's you jump from character to character. What I get from this that I didn't get in The Walking Dead is, and I suppose this might be a silly thing to say, but what you say is more important than ever because, and I don't know whether it's because I've had it drilled into me from watching the TV show so much that I'm so aware of what characters are saying, how they're saying it, what the other implications are of what they say, and like what the other characters' reactions are. That when one of the girls, one of the female characters in King's Landing is in front of Cersei, and Cersei is questioning her loyalty and talking about these different things, and you're given all these options, you think, man, what do I say here that I don't piss off Cersei and she doesn't murder me and my entire family? Because that's a real outcome here, and it's that element of like undercurrent of the language and the words that they use, and then the other thing which is reinforced in all of Game of Thrones is the fact that don't hold on to any single character because they will die, and they will die horribly. Is just it pulled together, and I was just like, I really care about what I say and what I choose, and it sort of nods early on and says like silence is a valid option, and I was like, I was using that, not saying anything could be dangerous, but in certain situations you want to keep your mouth shut. And I was just like, got really pulled into these characters, and like it starts off. I don't know if there's spoilers or anything, but it starts off. It's in the TV series world, but it starts off right at the end of the Red Wedding.
Season 3, yeah.
So you jump back there, but I didn't realise this at the time. And it starts off with these guys in a camp, and you think, oh, there's one of the guys. It's the Northern Army, and they're I didn't know where they were. And then they said, "Oh God, they're having a great wedding up there." And I was like, "Oh shit," And then one of the characters starts looking around. And he starts seeing like the glint of swords like beneath things, and he's like, "Oh man, shit's gonna go down." And it's just, I was like, "Oh God, I care about this again." And I just pulled me right back into it. And as a sort of accompaniment to the TV series, I think it worked brilliantly. Really good.
Did you feel like your choices were making a difference, or do you feel like you would have wound up at the same place regardless?
I don't know. It's hard to say that, and I think knowing what Telltale, probably, regardless of my choices, some of the things were going to happen anyway. But I don't necessarily see that that's such a bad thing.
But you felt empowered, right?
I did feel empowered.
Exactly.
Yeah,
see? Damn it.
And there were little moments where you do something and you think, that might pay off later. Or I just don't know, it might not pay off, but it might. And I was making like these little decisions which didn't have a conclusion in the episode, and I think it had the same sort of beats that a Game of Thrones TV episode has. Like things happen, you think that might pay off, or that might not, and it worked really well, and I really enjoyed it. It's only like an hour and a half long, brilliant.
My only problem with Telltale in general is that they need to understand what the term episodic means. But do you know what I mean? Episode 2 could come out in April. That's not episodic, man.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'm not saying like clearly it's not an easy thing to do to get these things out, but
yes, it is. Make all of them and then release them week by week.
Well, yeah, you could do that. But
yeah,
that's what they do with TV series.
Exactly. Why can't they do it with games?
Yeah, I agree with that because it needs that. I'm already jonesing for the next one. I really want to play it now. But I don't know.
Yeah, but that will fade. That will fade. Wouldn't you be more excited if you knew this Thursday new episode of Game of Thrones?
No, I would be definitely. And maybe I should have waited and just got them all when they came out. But as it stands right now, I was hooked, loved it. One more.
No, I'm going to play it over Christmas. Definitely, I like Game of Thrones. I like what Telltale do. I just mean in general, they should take this episodic idea by the horns and show people, look, this is how you do it. But they're not. They're falling into the same mistake everybody does. It's not episodic at all. It's just a gap between things they're releasing.
Well, it is episodic. It comes in episodes. It's just there's like 6 months between the bloody things.
Well, maybe. I don't know. It upsets me. That's the only thing that bothers me. Oh no, and the Jurassic Park game, which I'm happy to say is the worst game ever made.
Yeah.
Have I ever told you my Jurassic Park Telltale game story?
You probably have, but go on.
About when I went to E3 and I was being demoed Jurassic Park.
Did you flat out tell the guy it was crap?
Well, he asked me. I was at E3 whenever it was.
That's what the guy wants to hear. We're working really hard on this.
They're going through this awful demo, one of the worst I've ever seen. And he told me, "What did you think?" I said, "That's one of the worst things I've ever seen." And he laughed. I'm deadly serious. And then he had to leave. He said, "Look, I have to leave. I have to go catch a taxi for an airplane. Someone's going to be in to take over." So he left. And he said, "Don't play it. It's an unplayable build." But there was no one in there, so I just picked up the control and played it for 10 minutes. Awful, absolutely awful, terrible, rubbish game.
Oh, I love it. He told you it was broken. You played it anyway, and then that tainted your perception of it. That doesn't seem very fair.
He didn't say it's broken. He just said this is not a playable build. And look, besides, I played that game when it came out. That was the finished game, my friend. There was nothing. I played that section. It was exactly how I played at E3. There was no difference. So don't give me that noise, Telltale. I don't think I've ever told that on a podcast. No, I think I have, actually. I think I have. Well, I get in trouble all the time anyway, so screw it. I might as well keep getting in more trouble as things go on. I think that's all the games. Obviously, that's not all the games in 2014. That's not even all the good games, but that's the ones we decided to talk about for one reason or the other. Have you got any shout-outs? I want to shout out Hitman Go on mobile. That was awesome. It was really, really good. Yeah, it was really, really good game. Like, perfect sort of travel fodder that was. Really good game.
I'll tell you what I'm playing on my phone, which is kind of addictive. It's a Star Wars thing. Star Wars Commander. I mean, it's one of those ones. It's a pay to play. You have to pay to get stuff, or unless you have to wait like 2 days. I'm waiting out every time, so I'm sort of dipping into it every day and doing a little bit here and there.
Yeah.
It's like a mixture between tower defense. So you build a base and you got to build, get resources and stuff, and then you go out and you do these little missions with kind of like an RTS, but you don't have control over the guys. You just sort of say where they go and then sort of let it play out. But the genius of it is that everybody's base is open to attack, so you can just go on there, choose a base, someone's base, and just go for it. And periodically, I'll come back and someone's attacked my base. And I just there's something in the background that I pick up and do every now and again. I really quite like it.
Nice, I'm glad. And also, as you mentioned Star Wars, yourself and Mr. Sam Roberts are going to come on the Be-Mpowered Podcast, and we're going to do Star Wars soon, right?
Well, I was hoping you'd pick up on that. That was my little segue.
Is that what you're going to do? Is that really what you're going to do?
Yeah.
Jeez, self-promotional son of a bitch. But yeah, we'll talk Star Wars. And I think you two will out-Star Wars me. I don't think I'm as big a Star Wars fan as you two. I think you're far bigger than I am.
Yeah, definitely. Did you see... I mean, this is something we might talk about later on, actually, on the podcast, but did you see the fact that... did you see the trailer?
Yes.
Yeah, did you see that rolling droid?
Yes.
Mark Hamill came out and said apparently that's a real practical effect.
Well, he made it.
Yeah, it's a physical thing that rolls around the studio.
Oh, that's pretty good.
That's pretty special. I think it's pretty awesome.
You definitely like Star Wars more than me. That doesn't excite me as much as it excites you.
Well, no, I see that as indicative of like the approach that J.J. Abrams is taking. It's not a CG R2-D2. Fuck that. They made it. It's on the set. Like the actors can look at it and they can see it rolling around. That's important.
Yeah, true.
That shows like
it's not George Lucas.
It's not just George Lucas. Yeah, it's not just George Lucas. Yeah. Exactly.
Well,
that's important.
We will chat about all this and more.
Exactly.
If you like kind of previews, obviously we've got Star Wars coming out. We've got Batman. You can look forward to that. And then we've got some other ones as well, which actually I was going to say. We've got some more wrestling stuff coming up as well. A lot of people have asked for wrestling stuff. So.
Oh, man. Yeah, I count me out on that. I have no idea.
Yeah, I'm not gonna invite you to it. But 2015 is going to be a lot of wrestling stuff coming out of Simon Miller's mouth. So that's exciting, isn't it?
I guess.
Yeah. Well, look, Lynch. I mean, I will chat. I will chat to you in real life because the podcast isn't real life before Christmas anyway. But have a good Christmas, my friend.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for joining me on the podcast these last few months.
Not a problem.
And pimp yourself at Dai Lynch, right? DAI_Lynch on Twitter.
That's right.
Anything else you want to shout out about?
If you like board games and you're in Cardiff, rulesofplay.co.uk.
Rulesofplay.co. Not even Cardiff, anywhere. Even if you live in Gibraltar, go to rulesofplay.co.uk. Check out that website.
Yeah, if you're actually in Cardiff, it's down Castle Arcade.
And you can meet Lynch. You can go and meet him, and you can say you're not really that short, and be like, yeah, I am.
I am.
No, it's not fun if you agree.
Oh, sorry.
I
got a real chip on my shoulder.
Gee, oh my fucking hell. Man, ruining the holiday spirit for everyone. Oh, and he's gone again. Anyway, look, that has been the Be-Mpowered Podcast. As always, I'm on Twitter at SimonMiller316. I'm on YouTube. Just search for Simon Miller. Or you can go to something like youtube.com/c/SimonMiller316. Just go to Twitter. It's in my bio on there. Like I said at the beginning of the show, if you've liked the show, or even if you hated it, go to iTunes or whichever application you use. Leave us a review. Leave us a rating. That way I know what you like. I know what you don't like, and I can try and adjust to suit. But do I have anything else to pimp? I don't know. Go listen to some old podcasts if you want.
Ooh, the competition.
Oh yeah, look here. If you want to win like loads of gaming shit, look out for that vid, innit? Yeah. But like I said, there may be another podcast next week. If not, have a great Christmas, Hanukkah, or whichever holiday you celebrate. Or maybe you don't celebrate any holiday at all, and I support you in that. Just make sure you're happy, always believe, and stay powerful. This is the Be-Mpowered Podcast. Thank you very much for downloading us. We may or may not be back in a week. We'll definitely be back in 2.